What's going good, everybody? It's your boy here, Dive. MLB preview of the 13th season. So, spring training obviously underway. You know, the last video we made was the League East.
Talking about AL Central, American League Central, whatever the hell you want to call this. But, you know, this should be an interesting division. So let's start off with the team that represented the American League in the World Series last year, none other than the Detroit Tigers, who beginning of the season looked like it was a disappointing year. I don't think it was going to be a disappointing year, excuse me, because of the fact that, you know, they had such a slow start. You know, you had Verlander, you had Cabrera, you had Fielder, you know, Valverde struggled the whole entire season. You know, they had to leave Brandon Inge, there you go, that, you know, was basically one of their, you know, was a lack of guy in the clubhouse because, you know, he was struggling. So, you know, it was what it was, basically, you know. But, you know, guys like Austin Jackson, you know, who is good. The guy's good. You know, he may not hit the long ball a lot, but that guy can hit and that guy can run. Alright, plain and simple. You know, when the Detroit Tigers a few years ago traded away Curtis Granderson for Austin Jackson, they knew what they were doing. They knew that the New York Yankees had a great young outfielder in him. And, you know, they just proved it, plain and simple. So, the Detroit Tigers, you know, they have Valverde gone, you know, Brandon Inge is gone, as I said earlier. I believe they're getting Victor Martinez, who was out for the whole entire season. He's supposed to be their, I believe, was catcher? Yeah, he's supposed to be catching for them, but I think he probably might play some DH for them. But, nonetheless, it's going to be interesting, I think, you know, because this Tigers team is good, obviously. You know, a guy that you're day in, day out is going to give you a good start. You know, very rarely he's going to do a bad start. And of course, I'm talking about Justin Verlander, one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. And he's just going to do a good job for them, you know what I mean? But the real question I have for them is who's going to be closing for them, for the Tigers? You know, I keep hearing October Hotel, and, you know, you hear about the other guys, like, but, yeah, we'll see what happens with them. But they do have a good lineup. You know, this is one of the better lineups, I think, in all of the American League, the Detroit Tigers. So, of course, we have Prince Fielder, Miguel Cabrera, you know, Prince Fielder, who's going to hit the ball at the ballpark, you know, has a chance anytime he's at bat. And you got Miguel Cabrera, who also hit the ball at the ballpark, but at the same time, I mean, the guy won the Triple Crown last season. Not saying he's going to win it this year, because that's almost near impossible, but, you know, we'll see. So, you know, I will not be surprised Detroit Tigers again win the AL Central. And then we'll talk about a team that was so close to winning the AL Central, but they came up just short. Talking about the Chicago White Sox. And this was a team, as I just said, was looking good. I admit, they were looking good at the final moment. They collapsed. Alright. I mean, you want to talk about how the Atlanta Braves and the Boston Red Sox, you know, those two teams collapsed last season, you know, a couple of years ago. The Chicago White Sox did that last season. You know, they had it all in their hands, whatnot. And they had to face Detroit a couple times, and it was just like, oh my gosh, you know, and that was really the end of it for them. But, you know, they got some good stuff going for them, especially the pitching. You know, Jake Peavy, good pitcher. When healthy, he is the old Jake Peavy. There's Jake Peavy in San Diego, in Petco Park. You know, Chris Sale, who I believe was supposed to be the closer beginning of the season, you know, started off as their starter, and he stayed that way. And to me, he was their best starter the whole entire season. He was great. He was good. He is the future of the team. He's the current and future of the Chicago White Sox when it comes to pitching. Let's see, what else do they have? They still got Paul Konerko. Yeah, I didn't like the fact to let AJ Brzezinski go, you know, especially with the career year he had last year, but I guess they wanted to move on to bigger, better things. You know, Alex Rios, he did good last season. So, you know, this is just a good Chicago White Sox team, you know, despite, you know, to me, what I thought was one of the better shortstops in all the American League, Alexi Ramirez. He struggled last season, but, you know, obviously the White Sox management, they still believe in him if he's still starting for them and still being on their team. So we move on from the Chicago White Sox to the Cleveland Indians, who I think, honestly,
pun intended, could be the wild card. You know, you look at this team on paper, you know, first you want to look at their skipper, you know, the manager, Terry Francona. You know, diehard Red Sox fan, I know what Terry Francona brought, and just a likable attitude in the clubhouse. I know about the whole beer and chicken thing, whatever. But other than that, a likable guy, he knows what he's doing. And then you look at the additions they added to this team, you know, Nick Swisher and, you know, Drew Stubbs. So, you know, and a bunch of other pieces that, Michael, was it Michael Bourne? Yeah, Michael Bourne, you know, center fielder. This is looking like a good Cleveland Indians team, you know, especially with hitting. Now, the big question to me, obviously, is the pitching. You know, yes, they have Justin Masterson. What else do they have in the starting rotation? You know, just I question mark in the starting rotation. But you know, Chris Perez, there's times he can look like one of the best closers in all of baseball, and there's times that he's out there. So, but you know, I would not be surprised if the Cleveland Indians maybe make the second wild card, not the first wild card, but the second wild card. So, and I'm just throwing it out there. It's a possibility, you know. So who knows? So. And then we'll talk about the Minnesota Twins, and what I gotta say is Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau might be like the two most loyal guys that I've seen in quite some time when it comes to baseball, because the Twins have struggled for quite some time now, for a few years, right number of years, and they're still with this team. You know, I think Joe Mauer has a new trade clause, but you know, I know they're both injury-prone guys, but when healthy, these are two of the better hitters you will find in baseball, with Justin Morneau and Joe Mauer. You know, Joe Mauer is not really a power guy, but he is in batting average. He will drive the runs, and he will hit for, you know, good batting percentage, plain and simple, good batting average. But everything else is just like the pitching everywhere, the starters, the bullpen, and, you know, some other player. I know they're trying to go young here, you know, with their shortstop and third baseman particularly, and also in the outfield, but everything else is just like, I mean, they do get Josh Willingham, who did have a good season last year. You know, surprisingly enough, a lot of people are surprised, like, oh, Josh Willingham, you know, he has 20 plus home runs and 100 plus RBIs, and when Josh Willingham, you know, gets, you know, good solid hitting behind him, like Mauer and Morneau, he can drive in runs. You know, plain and simple. The guy's played with the Marlins, he's been with the A's, you know, the guy's been around. So, yeah. But, you know, I'm just going to be real. So Twins are probably going to be in last place, plain and simple. Last but not least, the Kansas City Royals. We're not Kansas anymore, Tom. Yeah, you are. But this is a good, young team. I mean, okay, not good young, but they have good young players, was what I about to say. You know, James Shields, he's been in the league for a while now, but he's a good starting rotation pitcher, you know, good starter. You know, Wade Davis, he's not bad himself. You know, Salvador Perez is a good young catcher. This guy is good. This guy can hit for power, he hit for RBIs, driving runs, can hit, obviously, you know, for average. He's got it. You know, I think he's a good player. Billy Butler. Surprised how many people mention Billy Butler. He's not bad himself. Eric Hosmer. Oh, Dios mío, Eric Hosmer. This guy came from like a year ago, you know, prior to this past season, you know, to being one of the good hitters, you know, in the first baseman, until like his average was just like insane last year, meaning like up and down like a roller coaster. It was like just crazy, but wow. Mike Moustakas, one of the most underrated third basemen in all of frickin' baseball. Mike Moustakas. I know the last name, Mike Moustakas. That's a stupid name, but he's good. He's good. Plain and simple. The guy can hit for power. The guy can drive in runs. You know, batting average is not perfect, but you know, still better than, you know, Adam Dunn and Eric Hosmer and whatever. So, you know, the Kansas City Royals, and also, you know, maybe they make the playoffs somehow, some way. You know, they could be sleeper. I can see that. They can be a sleeper. You know, I can't slam that out by any means. But, you know, time will tell. We'll see what happens. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the AL Central video.